Indigenous people of Bangladesh and UNDRIP. Indigenous peoples each have unique and distinctive cultures, languages, legal systems and histories. Most indigenous peoples have a strong connection to the environment and the traditional lands and territories. Indigenous peoples are culturally distinct societies and communities. They also often share logistic of removal from traditional lands and territories, subjugation, destruction of their cultures, discrimination and widespread violations of their human rights. Indigenous communities play a vital role as custodians of our planet, possessing vital knowledge that will support global efforts to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). But despite progress to protect their rights, many of the world's 370 million indigenous peoples face discrimination and threats to their livelihoods and ancestral lands. Indigenous women are the guardians of the seeds and the keepers of traditional knowledge. In face of hardship and struggle in everyday life, the population belonging to ethnic minority demands constitutional recognition, equal rights and dignity. According to Bangladesh Adibashi Forum in Bangladesh, there are around 3 million indigenous people living both in the plains and the hills. Bangladesh is home of more than 54 indigenous people speaking more than 35 languages. Bangladesh has not adopted the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and the economic and political rights of the country's indigenous peoples remain ignored. The Constitution of Bangladesh ensures affirmative action for indigenous peoples and prohibits discrimination inter alia on grounds of race, religion or place of birth. At global level, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples 2007 is the latest human rights instrument addressing the basic rights of world indigenous people, which was adopted by the General Assembly in 2007. The declaration is not most comprehensive international instrument on the rights of indigenous peoples. It establishes a universal framework of minimum standards for the survival, dignity and well-being of the indigenous peoples of the world, and it elaborates on existing human rights standards and fundamental freedoms as they apply to the specific situation of indigenous peoples. United Nations General Assembly declared 2019 as the International Year of Indigenous Languages to raise awareness of the crucial role languages play in people's daily lives under the name Indigenous Languages Matter for Sustainable Development, Peace Building and Reconciliation. Guided by the principle that no one is left behind, indigenous peoples are a priority under the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. By setting minimum standards for the survival, dignity and well-being of the indigenous peoples of the world, this declaration upholds the existing human rights standards and fundamental freedoms of the indigenous peoples.
Mioi bagi hak mayam ga mana boisan.
Kahok ubriu kalong kaju.
Mioi bagi hak miyam ga mana boisan.
Manwa oidari joto hor lagi joto jagare suman gya.
Kahok ubriu kalong kaju. Mioi bagi hak miyam ga mana boisan.
মানবাধিকার সবার জন্য, সবখানে সমানভাবে।